It's Wednesday at 6 o'clock where I do a very brief live stream. First thing I love is for you guys to tell me where you're watching from. It's always wonderful to see a community from around the world. I have two cameras. The one down here is streaming everywhere else on my socials. Let me just open up the comments everywhere else. YouTube, Facebook, hello, LinkedIn, hello, Twitter, hello. I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh. Hi, Australia. Let's see where we are. New York City, nice to see you. Windsor, Ontario, I know that place well. Chicago, hello. Germany, hi. Good to see everybody. Florida. Any snow in Florida? We got snow in California. Crazy, crazy. My brother from Ottawa called me and he's like, snow in LA? Boston, hello. And you belong to my Patreon. Wonderful, Joshua. You should come to our live stream tonight. That would be wonderful. Connecticut, hello. Melbourne, Australia, or Melbourne, Florida, hello. We have a lot of Aussies that come to my Patreon because it's like the next day noon for them. If you're new to me and my feed, welcome. I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh. I'm known as America's relationship expert because I've written 3 books on relationships. I wrote a dissertation on attachment theory. I'm not a therapist. I'm a psychology professor, and I've been teaching theories of love for decades. Too many decades to name. So welcome everybody. I do this live stream for just a few minutes every Wednesday, answer a few questions to give you a taste of what I'm all about. And then, oh, hi, I'm looking down here on YouTube. I see Pear Blossom, California. Wait, I know somebody from Pear Blossom, California. Jesse, are you a friend of Jesse's? And Fort Worth, Texas in Tornado Alley. Hello, Jeff, good to see you. I'm seeing up here if you guys are in new places. So anyway, what was I just saying? I want to say the first thing before we get going talking about my Patreon. My new time slot for my radio show is amazing. I am live every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 10 to midnight on the East Coast. And you can listen live anywhere from the iHeart radio app, the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show. And I do calls for a couple segments, but the lines filled up so much that I didn't even get to everybody this time. So it was great. So I think I saw a question here. Let me go back. Dating someone who has flown to me, Vancouver to Ontario. I just got back from visiting him in Vancouver. We're going to Paris next month. Is it safe to say, based on effort, he's serious about me? Look, he's spending money and he's spending time. That's a sacrifice. That's a commitment. Just also ask yourself, is he being authentic and honest and opening up? Because the research shows that the things that keep people together aren't the superficial things. They are vulnerability, honesty, right? So if he's being real, that's great. Oh, Marion, you are a friend of Jesse's. Wonderful. Anyway, so if you have another question, you're welcome to post it here. In a few minutes, I'm going to head over to my Patreon. You can join my Patreon. I made a 2023 decision. I used to have 4 or 5 tiers. I was teaching classes in the morning, doing group discussions in the evening, and I decided to put everybody into just one tier. So instead of having levels of membership, anyone can have everything for $10 a month. That includes my podcast, my books, regular articles, Zoom rooms. I do a drawing every week for like a private one-on-one phone call with me. And it's fun. And again, reminder, everybody, I'm not a therapist. This isn't therapy. It's just that I love to share the education on love because I've been reading it for so many years. All right. If you have any relationship questions, I'll be happy to take a couple before we head off. If not, tell me where you're watching from because it's always wonderful. The topic, by the way, in tonight's Patreon Zoom room is a topic that is hotly debated by therapists and sex therapists. The question is, if you're in a long-term relationship with somebody, you'll love them, but you're not in the mood to have sex, but they want to have sex. Should you do it anyway? Now, there are plenty of professionals who give a hard no on that, but I know that everybody has different levels of desire. And so we're going to talk about all the research on that in my Patreon Zoom room. What do I think about long distance relationships? I can tell you what the research says. The research says that long distance relationships work if they have an end game in sight and you're making plans to be together. If they're an endless string of honeymoons, they don't actually resemble real growth, real intimacy. You see, day-to-day relationships involved dealing with all the bumps and grinds on days when you're not in a good mood, or you don't look your best, or bad things happen. But when you're in a long distance relationship, you have a time lag. You can wait to call the person till you're in a better mood. And then when you see them, it's always like a special little honeymoon instead of day to day fighting over the toothpaste or who folds the towel one way or another. So in many ways, they don't represent reality. My suggestion is, if you're having a long distance relationship, to do as much FaceTime and calls all during the day so that you're feeling each other during the day, and your lives and your lifestyles, and that you make an end game. You got to say, like, we'll do this for 3 months, 6 months, maximum a year. One of us has to make a plan to move. How do you meet a man outside of online dating? Places you suggest outside of bars, because I'm looking for a committed relationship. Well, depending on your age group, I will say this, that young people don't talk to each other in public anymore. You know, when I was young, people talked to you in the vegetable aisle. They talked to you in traffic at red lights. Guys would be hitting up on me. It's now considered creepy. And now in the Me Too era, men are very worried and concerned about being overt to a stranger. So I really suggest online dating is great, but it's how you use it. You have to be able to not get into a long messaging thing with somebody, get on the phone pretty quickly, do a telephone interview, maybe meet for a short coffee. And then after that, if you both like each other, having a first date. But this idea of, disclosing lots of personal things about yourself on an app in a messaging, then you meet the person, you don't like them. It's weird. Who needs to like the other person more to make relationships work, men or women? Well, so that's that myth, right? That myth is, if a man loves a woman just a little bit more than she loves him, the relationship will be happiest. I don't think there's any science on this. I think that the science says that if two people really value each other and they both think that they got a great deal, and doesn't matter if it's true or not, if they have that illusion, then the relationship will be happy. We're only as happy as we believe we're happy, right? There's Kip from Garden Grove. Hello. Checking in from Chicago. Hi, Judah. Kip says, is it becoming more common for men and women to have close but platonic relationships? Depending on where we are in the lifespan. So generally, young men and women have a hard time being just friends because somebody's waiting in the wings for the other one to potentially be a mate. So we call those backup mates. As we get older and we're more financially independent, more self-sufficient, it's very common for men and women to just be friends. Like, do you want to be my +1 at events that I have to go to, etc. And it's much more understandable and you can talk about it more. Somebody else had a question here. What do I think about a 13-year age gap? I'm 37. I'm 37. My partner is 51. There's not that big of an age gap at that stage. 13 years would be a problem if somebody was 19 and the other person was 32. Okay. But you guys are pretty mature, so I wouldn't think it would be a big issue. The big issue always in age gap relationships is what stage of life you're at in terms of reproduction and what you want. Sunrise, thanks for the compliment. So if you want kids and they haven't had them and they don't want kids or they've had them already, these are the big things to discuss. And the other thing to remember is that the person who's older in a May-December relationship is always going to have more power. Even if they don't have more money, they're going to have more power because they have more wisdom and more life experience. So we want to hope that the older person is a benevolent leader. It's just the way it is. Going up here, looking for a question. You're welcome to post another question before I head over to my Patreon Zoom room. That's why I'm here, to let you know that we go into a fun discussion group every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. There's a great group there. And you just go to patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh to join. I'm dating a pilot. I don't hear from him when he's on. It could be a week sometimes. It's so frustrating. Well, have you spoken to him about it? Is he understanding your needs? Is he not being responsive to your needs? Then you got to ask yourself if this is the relationship you want, right? You can't change people's behavior, right? What we can do is be honest and authentic about our needs in a relationship. And then we sit back and watch. Are they listening? Are they paying attention to meeting our needs? And if not, then the decision's for us, not for them. It's not for us to try to change them. It's for us to decide if we want to accept that or not. That's really what happened. All right, I think I have time for one more. Advice on increasing libido. I find I'm always in my own head. It's hard for me to share this sometimes. and I fake it. You know, you would not believe how many, the research says that young people are practicing sex in a performative way, faking all kinds of things, because so many of them, especially young males, learn sex on porn. And porn has nothing to do with real life. Nothing. Doesn't have to do with real intimacy at all. And so what happens is you're worried about your performance. In order to have a good sex life, you have to get out of your head and get into your body, right? And I think the answer will be when you find a partner that you can be honest and authentic with about your fears. What is that? How to handle the first conversations when he said, you can come to the city and stay with me, sleep with me. How, as an adult, we let them know what we're talking about. Haha, let's have coffee. I don't know what you're saying. Basically, how do you react if somebody says, come to the city and have sleep with me? If you want to sleep with them, say, great. If you don't, say, no, that's not appropriate. I don't want that. What problems do I see if two people later in life live separately in a relationship? I don't see problems if both people are happy with that. There's no one right way to be a human. There's no one right way to have a relationship. But there's deception, there's withholding your needs, there's unexpressed anger and frustration. Those are problems in relationships. But if two people discuss what their needs are and both their needs match, nobody's being hurt, everybody's okay, then that's fine. All right, I am heading over to my Patreon Zoom room. It opens up in 15 minutes at 6:30. If you'd like to join, please go to patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. Also, my radio show has moved to a new time slot, which is Sundays from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. 7 to 9 p.m. I take a lot of calls. It's a lot of fun. It's all about the science of love. It's on KFI AM 640 Los Angeles radio, if you still listen to AM radio. But no matter where you are in the world, you can just download the iHeart radio app, search Dr. Wendy Walsh Show. You can actually listen to taped episodes on demand anytime you like, but I'm live every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. It's always wonderful to see you here on my live stream, and we'll see you next Wednesday, or we'll see you in a few minutes in my Patreon room, patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. Bye, everybody. See ya. End it there.